Top five safeties for you, Chris. Who you got here first at number five?
Well, at number five, I'm going to go with ASHTYN Davis from California. All right off the bat. Now,
Fun
like,
story.
yeah, unreal
Yeah.
story, really fun watch on film. You know, has no weakness to his football game. Okay, that's where I really like the player. All right, there's nothing that I watched where I said, "Ooh, he needs to improve on that." You know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I looked at one area of his game and said, "Oh my gosh, he's so amazing at this." But
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the Swiss Army knife tool set he has that is intriguing to me. To where
Yeah.
he's got very good hips in coverage. He's very good to read and react as a free safety and get down involved in the run game. Now, listen, he's not like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's Ronnie Lott and going to rip your head off. You know, he's a good tackler. I'm not going to say he's a
Well.
great
Yeah.
tackler, but he
Yeah.
tackles well. He gets you to the ground. That's the reason they're called a safety, because they're saving 80-yard touchdowns, and ultimately you just want him to go to the ground.
I would say even better than his tackling is fine, but his best tackling skill, I think, is the kind of range he has in the running game. Whereas he may be
Definitely.
lined up in one spot, and then when the tackle is made, you're like, how did he get all the way over there? And like that looked like his best tackling skill to me.
I'm with you. Yes, he's a pursuit tackler, right? Instead of like
Right.
a smash your head tackler, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and you know, and that's where I got into like the read and recognition stuff. His ability to diagnose a play and run across the field like you're saying, or
Mm-hmm.
run sideline to sideline and track ball carriers down. I thought was very
Is
special
really
that
good.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I want to run
let
through. I
alone
want to
having the
run
good
through.
hips. And go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
the hips at safety huge.
Yeah.
Because his story is so unique, Chris. I want to make sure we hit each one of these things. I want to read something about him that makes him kind of different than a lot of these other candidates, and just you tell me how much you think it matters and if it matters to you at all. So let's start at the top. He's a former walk-on.
Sure.
Former walk-on.
Yeah. Well, again, a lot of things can be, a factor in that. Sometimes it's you played at a low-level high school and people just don't
Yeah.
see. They go, "Oh man, that high school football sucks. He doesn't know what he's doing." Maybe he was a late starter to football all to begin with. So I don't
Right.
even know what the history there is. But all I know right now is the guy's 6'1",
He's
202, and he can run
you
and
play.
he can tackle
Yeah.
and he can play ball. Right.
How about Pac-12 110 hurdle champion? What's that mean?
Ooh, that tells you what kind of athlete he is. That speaks
Right?
to what you're saying, his ability to run people down sideline to
Mm-hmm.
sideline. I mean, yes, you see some cornerback traits from this kid with the way he can turn and run and flip
Yeah.
his hips and do
Yes.
things like that.
Yeah. How about two-time special teams player of the year there at Cal?
Well, that just tells you that he's just gritty and tough. That's where that's the reason. Hey, listen, there was a few guys where I went, "Oh, who do I make number 5?" And it's
Yeah.
little things like you're talking about right now that aren't little, that tell you about the person, that gave me
Right.
the edge to go, man, all the things he can do for your football team. And we're seeing
Mm-hmm.
starting safeties play more and more on special teams and doing
Oh
that
yeah.
to where,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a huge value as far as evaluating for the draft.
And I like this one too. I don't know if it matters to you, but his college position coach, Gerald Alexander, if you remember that name, he's now with the Dolphins, I think, on the staff there. He went there recently. But Gerald played in the NFL, played cornerback in the NFL for 5 or 6 years. And to have that kind of tutelage while you're in school from somebody who just got out of the league and played the same, actually played safety. I'm sorry, he played safety. I think that matters a whole lot.
Definitely. I mean, it just, it tells you that there's a guy who's played at a high level, probably taught him
Hmm.
some nuances about the position and how it's
Yeah,
supposed to be played, what to look for, which makes the kid's instincts even better to where
should.
now he can let his physical ability just flow out because he's not thinking as much. But yes,
Right.
California is very well coached too on the defensive side of the ball. There's a lot to like with what they do. And the
Hmm.
different ways in which they use him, that's the value of a guy like ASHTYN Davis.
And we've heaped a lot of praise on him here, and I agree with you. There is a lot to like. How about the biggest concern? Your number one concern about him, why you have him at five as opposed to maybe 4 or 3?
maybe laxed a little of the physicality that I mentioned. I think maybe a little physical, or yeah, two things, right? Because I wrote down, I go, man, a lot of things remind me of a Harrison Smith. But the reason I can't say he's Harrison Smith is because he lacks a little of the physicality, Harrison Smith. And you saw Harrison Smith at Notre Dame, and you've seen him in the NFL. I mean, he brings
Mm-hmm.
it brings it with reckless abandon. And I'm big on that as safety. I mean, when you throw your body around it, sometimes, when you go into a hole and there's a good running back, you got to just give your body up and get the guy down. And sometimes you got to get yourself involved in car crash collisions. I saw some
Mm-hmm.
trepidation every now and then. And then I think the other thing that just got me a little bit to make him 5 was when it came to open field tackling and he had to break down and make a tackle and a guy's putting a move on him. His ability to kind of accelerate or explode to make that tackle, I thought was a little underwhelming. And I think those were probably the two things that I jumped out to me as far as being just a little bit of a weakness.
Okay. Ashton Davis Cal is your 5th safety. Who do you have at number 4?
Number 4 is Kyle Duggar. Am I saying that right? I just want to make sure I got Kyle Duggar in there the right way.
I think you are. And can you pronounce where he played?
No. LENOIR-RHYNE? LENOIR-RHYNE?
LENOIR-RHYNE. There you go, man. You got it. Yeah.
Man,
You're on
look at me. Man, my
well
New
done.
Jersey and Texas education coming through in the clutch. But, man, I mean, specimen. I mean, that's where you
Right?
have to start with this kid. Yes. I mean, he's built and looks almost like a, Sean Taylor out on the football field. Now, I'm not going to say he's Sean Taylor because that's a different animal altogether, but,
Right.
big, strong, can really accelerate to the football and run people down in space. Very natural in pass coverage, Paul. That's the thing for a
Yeah.
guy that's that size. I mean, I was really impressed with his ability to play the ball, his ability to turn the hips here and there. I even watched some Senior Bowl film. I mean, that was
Yeah.
impressive. Yes.
Fit in there pretty well. He fit in there pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
I want to
mean,
read some of the measurables too. And you can
good.
keep going for sure, but it's not a big name people know about because he played Division II, but he's 6'1", 217 for safety. That's big. Just got into the 4.4s, ran a 4.49 at the combine, so that's very good for a safety of his size. But watching him, I was picturing you watching him because these other guys we talked about today, they play Clemson, they play at LSU. You can watch him play Alabama. You can watch him play against kids who are going to be playing in the NFL for the next few years. He played against Mars Hill and Limestone. I mean, those are the teams on the schedule of LENOIR-RHYNE. So tell me about how you watch the film of him and what you need to see from him when he's clearly the best athlete on the field and he's not going up against NFL caliber talent.
No, it's tough. This is where, yeah, you hope that your trained eye and your ability to project the guy, to the next level. You hope you have some experience there because you're right. Hey, Paul, there's some plays where you go, I mean, other than the 5 offensive linemen, I think the guy at safety is the biggest guy on the field. I mean,
Right. Yeah.
right. It doesn't look right at times.
Right.
And that's why I said I went back and watched the Senior Bowl because I wanted to go watch some of the practice film and things like that to go, all right, let me just see what he looks like against, some better competition. And that was what sold me on what I saw
Pleasantly surprised.
Yes, I just looked at him. Oh, this kid belongs. He's
right.
He can cover anybody. Big time tight ends. Tackle running backs in space. When you watch the drill work he did, it's very impressive. I mean, there's just not a lot of negatives. Now, yeah, the big thing is you don't know what it's like when he has to tackle a Alabama running back or an LSU running back or a South Carolina running back week after week after week. But I know I had these questions about Darius Leonard when he came out of South Carolina State or whatever it was, and damn, he proved he was capable too. So I think I just saw enough ability, and really, one of the things I wrote, my big thing is I went, man, size, ball skills, straight line speed, good hips and coverage, solid tackler. I wrote, not great. Like like we talked about with Ashton Davis. He'll run you down and tackle you. His ability to break down and make tackles in open space, that needs a little work. But I wrote the biggest question is just the competition. That was the only
Yeah.
thing I had. And that's why I
Would
went to
that
the
scare
Senior Bowl
you?
film.
Would it scare you out of taking him in the top half of the second round?
I don't think so. It scares me
Hmm.
to where, I really think he's a first round specimen in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do. Yeah. I mean,
You think
but
somebody will do it? You think it'll
no,
happen?
I think
Yeah.
I think to what you're asking is where he played in the competition will scare most teams out of the first round competition to where, like a Darius Leonard, I think he gets picked in the top 15 picks of the second round, something like that. I think, yeah, that's about where he is.
Yeah.
He reminds me of Terrell Edmonds, who was drafted in the first round a few years ago by the Pittsburgh Steelers out of
Yeah. Yeah.
Virginia Tech.
Out of
I think that's the
Vatsec,
type of player
player.
he is
Yeah.
ultimately. Yeah, yeah.
It's a great compliment. Okay, so you have Duggar at 4 out of LENOIR-RHYNE. Ashton Davis from Cal was at 5. We are at 3. Who's in that spot for you?
Okay, I'm going to go to Julian Blackmon out of Utah. Okay, and I don't know,
Hmm.
this might catch some people by surprise. I'm not going to say I sit here and read a whole lot of mock drafts and top 50s and things like that, but I mean, I read sports news, so I see them occasionally. It's not a name that I've seen a lot, but this was
Right.
one of my favorite watches in the draft so far because he was surprising to me because I have heard no buzz about the guy.
What
Um,
surprised you the most there, Chris, with him?
well, okay, so first off, he's an X corner. He moves like a corner. So at the safety
Yes.
position, when you talk about, whoa, these are like top level coverage skills for a safety.
Hmm.
Great range as a middle fielder as far as a free safety is concerned, sideline to sideline. If the quarterback tips his eyes to go one way, man, he can flip his hips and get over there in a hurry. Can cover man to man. And then a guy that for 187 pounds, I loved his, reckless abandon to come up and challenge the run. I really did. I mean, he is fearless that way. So I think between that, the ball skills, and playing with much better play strength than 187 pounds would tell you, that to me made him a special prospect in my eyes and kind of a can't miss, true to form free safety in the NFL, Paul.
Injury late in the season, knee injury. I mean, how much? We're coming up now, almost 4 months ago. How much do you think that'll knock him in the draft?
Well, I know that's why he didn't get to run the 40, and I
Right.
don't know where that is as far as the status of that knee right now. I
Right.
don't know if you have any information there. I don't have any other
Well, I
information
mean,
on that.
we don't. I mean, I've got a great source for the injury stuff in a normal year, but I mean, teams don't know either. Teams don't know exactly where that is right now because they can't get out and do it.
Yeah,
So,
and so this is where this weird year could hurt a player like this. But regardless, free safety in the NFL, and you talked about it a little at the start of this, like Tyrann Mathieu. What is a free
hmm,
safety anymore? Yeah, some are traditional
right?
free safeties where they're deep middle. Some are down,
Yeah.
playing nickel on certain downs and playing like the slot corner. Some are
Hmm.
covering tight ends man to man. There's a lot of things that are asked at the safety position. But I thought overall, the skill set he brought to the table, he could do a little bit of everything, played a lot more
Hmm.
physical than I was expecting. Great
Yep.
read and recognition, and just incredible, I thought, in the pass coverage or just the pass game itself. I said he was like, to me, Buda Baker, maybe Jimmy Ward from the 49ers, that type of guy where, yeah, he's the
Hmm.
nickel, he's the free safety, he's back and
Yeah.
forth. And you can trust him down in the box to be aggressive and throw his body around to stop the run game.
You think about the number of things a safety has to do right now, and I mean, you could make an argument for really a lot of positions, but I don't think there's a position that requires more versatility on defense. I mean, think about it. Just off the top of my head, you got to play center field. You got to play half. You got to play quarters, which is a lot more nuance than playing half. Drop in the box to play the run. Drop in the box to blitz. Cover a tight end from off. Cover a tight end from tight. Cover a back out of the backfield. Cover the third receiver. I mean, it's amazing what they're expected to do right now.
It is. It's a vast skill set, and I think it's a reason why again too, you're seeing teams put a little more premium on the safety position because of that
Hmm.
versatility, and finding specific roles for certain safeties. You know,
Yeah.
oh, hey, we want to get in nickel, but we want to get in big nickel because we think they might be
Big
able to run
nickel.
the ball and they
Yeah.
got big receivers on the field. Oh, okay, hey,
Three
three
safeties.
safeties.
Yeah.
We need you to get down there. Right, three safeties. Or, you know, again, think about a guy like Daniel Sorensen with the Kansas City Chiefs. They bring him in a dime and kind of use him as like a dime linebacker. So, yeah, he's great in coverage, but if a team runs a draw or a screen, he can make a tackle. So you really got to try to find guys that, you know, can do some different things. And I'm really, what I'm looking for here in the top 5 is guys that are like that for the most part, you know, who can add some versatility to their defense. And, you know, this guy especially, I think, has a few roles. I mean, if you had to put him at corner in a certain game, he would be capable of doing it the way he moves and the way he can run.
And you brought it up right away, which I have written down first about him, Chris. I think it's the best thing about him is that he played corner. He started at corner in the Pac-12, so he would look comfortable there because he did it almost as much as he's played safety. So that's a
Yeah.
huge plus on his side.
Huge plus. Huge plus.
Yeah,
It is. He is. He's an intriguing watch. I really enjoyed him, and you know, he would be one of my guys right now where I'd put in like the Robin Hood category, where I'd want to go, you know, we got to steal from the rich and give to the poor a little bit, and we're not hearing his name thrown around, and I would just be shocked unless the injury is so bad that teams are scared of his knee to a degree that I am not aware of right now. I mean, again, I would have a hard time thinking this guy doesn't go off the board somewhere in the top 45 picks of the draft.
That was my question. It sounds like you're describing a top half of the second round kind of pick, and
I think so. Yes,
with his versatility at that spot, makes sense. All right, Blackmon, Utah was 3rd. Duggar from LENOIR-RHYNE at 4, and Davis from Cal at 5. Who was your number 2 safety?
My number 2 safety is going to be XAVIER McKinney from Alabama. You know, and again, you know, man, where do I start with this guy? You know,
you're making news with your rankings here. I mean, everybody's number 1 guy. You don't have a number 1, by the way.
Well, yes, yeah, I know. Well, you know, and
we
again,
like that.
well, you know, that's cool. Whatever. He's up there for me.
Yeah.
You know, and again, it's about the role you want the guy to play. Now, this guy, he ran what did he run? A 4.6 at the combine? 4.63. He doesn't play.
He was in 4.6s. Yeah. Looks faster, doesn't he?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely faster than that. Okay. So again, other things about his game where that to me just, you know, on the field, he is much faster than that. And, you know, the other thing too I want to bring up is, you know, when you see 36 inches vertical, that usually tells you the guy's a little bit more explosive than maybe the 40s giving it credit for too. But the big thing is, Paul, the acceleration and the 0 to 60 was special. And that to me is more about where this guy's game is going to be than running 50 and 60 yards down the field, covering great receivers or doing anything like that. He's got great, again, when we talk about what is he, to me, he's a free safety nickel type, right? We talked about Duggar from LENOIR-RHYNE, where I go, no, that's like a free safety, strong safety type. This guy is more of a free safety nickel cover guy, maybe more like a Tyrann Mathieu in that way, right? To where, you know, he's great in the back end. He's got unbelievable range. Man, when he sees the quarterback commit, he can really turn his hips and cover some ground, right? You saw that, I'm sure. You know, he's aggressive as hell coming down in the run game. You know, his ability to read and react, and what we would say in the NFL, shoot his gun, right? Like once you read and react, go. Don't be like, wait, am I seeing this the right way? Hold on, let me take one more look. No, go, shoot your gun. Let's go. You know, he's fearless. He's fearless. He thinks he's 6'4", 260, but somebody needs to tell him that he's only 6 foot, 200 pounds.
And you like that reckless abandon at safety. It's been your lead compliment for a lot of these guys. So if he has that, it's one of the reasons why you like him. I have written down here my biggest compliments for him, Chris, and let me know if you agree. Interchangeable at safety. Look just as comfortable playing center field as he did down in the box as a true strong safety.
Definitely.
And to be interchangeable is a massive compliment for what they want these guys to do.
No doubt. I only have one issue with that, and that's where I said I think he's a little more free safety than nickel. The more I watched, Now, listen, the aggressive nature, the will, the want to, it's all there. Like to what
Yeah.
you're saying, he was very comfortable in the box. I would just worry about having him in the box too consistently. When guards got up on him or linemen got on him or running backs were running through the hole untouched, he
Yeah.
missed tackles. And it wasn't because he missed them. It was because he
Yeah.
got run over or the running backs just broke the tackles in general because of lack of size. So yes,
Mm.
he's willing to do it, but I just don't know. Again, I worry about it a little bit if you made him a strong safety, too many snaps per game is what I'm saying.
Did you watch the LSU game? Because it looked to me like they basically played him at will, linebacker, a lot of that game.
Well, it's like more times than not, it is. It's like he was, he's like a nickel back, and this is where I get into this again, where you know, like a Rondé Barber almost, but this guy might be more aggressive in throwing his body around. But yes,
Hmm.
he was playing that spot because it's a bubble screen. Oh, he'll fly up there and make the tackle. Oh, it's Edwards-Helaire bouncing it outside. He'll fly up there and make a tackle, and then I think what really made him special in my eyes, Paul, was the fact
Hmm.
that, he was incredible at covering the slot receivers. Incredible. Like, I thought his ability and twitchiness and explosion in and out of breaks was really,
Hmm.
really special. So that's
Think
why I
about
see
the
him as that
options
free
now.
safety nickel guy. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, think about the options you have on third down. If not only is he not a liability on third down and 8, they bring in some kind of slot package and have three receivers out there in a bubble, and he can cover one of them. I mean, that is gold for a safety.
It is gold. And the guy I wrote down that kind of he reminded me of is LaMarcus Joyner. LaMarcus Joyner, right, from the Rams, signed to
Yeah.
the Raiders
Yeah.
last year and got big money. Yeah,
Yep.
he's that type of guy. You're right. You're gonna feel good like, hey, we're in our pass defense, but if a team runs, okay, we know we got a guy out there that he's fearless. He'll come up and make the tackle if he's got to. And
Right.
then again, if you wanted to get into base defense and put him back at free safety, he's got
You can do
incredible
that.
ball skills, and he's very fast to read and recognize, again, to be an extra body in the run game from the free safety spot. So that's where I
Hmm.
really like him. That's where he kind of reminds me of LaMarcus Joyner, but really fun watch, explosive. And yeah, I love guys that are, as you can tell, fearless, especially at the safety position. You
Yep.
got to be somewhat crazy to play that position in the NFL.
Absolutely. Let's play a what if game. Now, just thinking about what you did with the corners, you had Jeff Okudah at Ohio State as your third best corner. I think we said you'd like him, 15 to 20 is a great spot for him. You've got McKinney now out of Alabama at 2 instead of 1. Let's say there's a team, 15 to 20, that has said before the draft, all right, here's what we're going to do. We have no glaring need at safety or corner, but we want the biggest difference maker available at defensive back at that spot. That's who we're taking. Would you rather have Okudah or would you rather have McKinney?
Ooh, I would probably go with the Cuda. Yes, I would go with the Cuda. Yeah, just because again, I think Okuda has the possibility to be that island corner we've talked about. But if that failed, I think he could be one of the best slot corners in football too. So I guess that gives me a little leeway there. And that's no knock on
Yes.
Xavier McKinney. I really like
No,
him.
it's
I guess I'm just saying I
clearly,
value the
clearly you do.
corner, the
Yeah.
corner a little more. Yeah.
No, I think it's good. It also hammers home the point, even though people are going to be surprised that you have Okudah at number 3 in your corner list, some are going to say, oh, why does Chris hate Okudah? Clearly, you don't hate him. If you'd rather have
No.
him than your second best safety, who you just praised for the last few minutes, I mean, that brings up the point. Your man crush isn't giant on Jeffrey Okudah, but it's enough to where you would take him over your second safety. So well
Yes.
done.
Yes.
Bringing us
Thank you.
to your number. Yes, thank you. To your number 1 safety. Who do you like?
Antoine Winfield Jr. I just
Love
Paul, I
that
don't know
player.
what he'll. Yeah, I mean, when I turned on the film, I just went, man, this is an
When you
elite NFL free safety right away. It was like the third
right,
play,
yeah.
and I just went, why haven't I heard more about this kid?
When you turned it on, what did you expect to have him? Like fourth, fifth?
Yes, right. I thought he was going to be like hey, the kid's got good instincts. He knows how to play the
Right.
game,
Nice
but
player,
there's
tough
not going to be any
kid.
great like physical
Right.
ability that's going to jump off the screen to you. And it was almost,
The
I
traits
mean,
that
not
you
not
love.
the opposite, but the physical
Yeah.
ability, like to you, right? It jumped off the screen right away.
Oh my, yeah, yeah. And playmaking all over the field at critical times. I mean, he had 7 picks this past year. Hey, everybody has some garbage picks every now and then, but he had picks that mattered in big wins at important times.
He, out of the free safeties or safeties, I don't think anybody plays the ball better down the field than Antoine Winfield. I mean, he's like his dad that way. It's in like an elite corner, you know. So he's special there. And, he is a guy he's talented enough and explosive enough to where you could trust him at, a handful of snaps every game to play man to man on good receivers because he has that type of explosive ability and hips to do it. But, you
Hmm.
know, so that jumps off the screen. You're right about the ball skills and all that. Then you talk about the range, and then just the range as a free safety. I mean, with his ability to go sideline to sideline. But man, I mean, the guy's got a rocket up his butt. You know me.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite phrases. It's 4.45,
Yeah.
but
Right.
he plays and
Legit.
looks faster than that on the field. When
Yeah.
I first watched him, I said, "Damn, I'm watching Earl Thomas at Texas right now." That's really what I thought of when I first saw it. I
Wow.
saw,
Wow.
yeah, a missile all over the
Yeah.
field, and a lot like we just talked about with Xavier McKinney, where I said, yeah, he's a free safety, but his ability to read and recognize the play and come downhill and be an extra body in the run game, there's great
Yeah.
value for that. And like McKinney, he gets down there in a hurry and can't wait to get
Hmm.
in the mix. And
Right.
I thought was a more physical, better tackler than McKinney, which is one of the reasons I made him one. He's got a little bit
Hmm.
more of a physical, dense, muscular build than McKinney, which I
He
like at the safety
does. Yeah,
position. Yes.
he
Yeah.
does. And it was a good lesson for me too, Chris, because before you get to know these kids, what are you going to do? You look at the measurables, and I see
Sure.
5'9", and I'm like, oh, he's little. He's little. Okay. I mean,
I
how good
know.
can he really be? And then I watched him play, and I went back to it, and I saw he weighs 203, and I'm like, I don't know why I keep making that mistake. You can be 5'9" just because you're short doesn't mean that you're little out there. And he looks like a big presence, even though I'm sure teams wish he was 6 feet or 5'11", but he doesn't play little at all. You got to keep in mind that he is over 200 pounds.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And twitchy as hell and powerful as
Yes,
hell.
good
And you're right.
reactions. Yeah,
I mean, we came from that old school time of where like, safeties are 6'1", 220, and
right. Yeah,
linebackers are 6'3", 250. And
yeah,
it's just not that way in football anymore. Now some
right.
linebackers are 6'1", 220. And
Yeah.
guys that are 6'3", 250 are defense ends. It depends on the defenses. It's a different era. But,
So how
to
high?
what yeah,
How high
go
will a
ahead.
5'9" safety get drafted? You think?
Oh, like, I mean, I think I wouldn't be scared to take him in the top 20 picks of the draft. If I'm the Dallas
For
Cowboys
sure.
at 17 and this kid's sitting there, I mean, I'm Jerry Jones. I can't, FaceTime or Zoom in quick enough to the NFL to go, Antoine Winfield's our pick. I mean, I just, I'm going to read you a few lines here because as I'm sitting here reading it
Yeah.
just to make sure I don't make my points, but first thing I wrote is this kid's real rocked up and compact looking, like an Earl
Hmm.
Thomas or a Quandre Diggs, I wrote, who's also a Texas guy. And then I wrote, well, after 2 plays, this kid is my kind of mofo because I saw him come downhill like a bat out of hell and just wreck some
Yeah.
running back in the hole. And I went, ooh, holy cow, who is this? But elite twitch and explosion, acceleration, top notch. We talked about the coverage skills and the ability to turn and run with people. I just all thought they were really special, let alone I honestly thought he played faster than his 4.4 time, 4.45.
Hmm.
He will hawk you. You break out in the open, he enjoys getting in that foot race and running you down and showing how fast he is. I love that stuff. I get off on that.
Yeah.
That's what a safety's supposed to be. Like,
Right.
he takes pride. Nobody's going to go 70 yards while I'm on the field. I'm going to run his ass down, and they're going to have to earn it to get in the end zone.
At first, I thought it was a compliment, and it is that you said, "Hey, late teens, take this kid." With the way you're describing him, why not? Why not 10 to 15? Would you take him that high?
I I'm not opposed to it. I'm not. I'm
Hmm.
looking right now just through teams who might have that need there that's glaring at that spot. I don't know if there's a team that's in desperation. I need a safety there. But
Hmm.
Paul, I don't think that's a crazy thought. I don't.
Hmm.
I'm just trying to look at a team that certainly would make sense there. But listen, anywhere between I guess I would say anywhere between 12 and after right now, as
Would
I'm getting
work.
a better
Okay.
feel for all, I think would work. I have
Yeah.
no problem with that. This is a
Yeah.
special player. I mean, this is tremendous range, tremendous ball skills as a free safety, really good play strength, really comes downhill fast. Um, I just wrote at the end of the day, there's just no way the guy last on the board past pick number 25 in my eyes. There's just no way. And
What
that was just making a kind statement right there.
What's your yeah but with him though?
I,
What gives
I
you
don't know if
hesitation?
I don't know if I have a yeah, but I don't know if there's anything that I sit here and I'm trying to go through my notes just a little more, but one of the
Hmm.
last lines I wrote on the paper, because I hadn't seen everybody yet, I wrote was, I have a hard time thinking this won't be the best safety in the draft. I was pretty blown away by what I saw, and I think this was the third safety I had watched on my list. And
Hmm.
I don't see a lot of weakness to this guy's game, other than maybe, like you said, that size, but I don't think it's as big a deal as what people make it to be.
Plays big, and the fact that he's over 200 pounds and where they will play him, I think, matters a lot. The only two
Right.
questions I had: will Chris knock him because he's only 5'9", and we talked about that, and that's not an issue. And he ran in the 4.4s at Indy. Do you see him play that fast on film? And it sounds like the answer is yes.
Yeah, definitely. I did. And yeah, again, size is not overly important when you're a true free safety. And that's what this kid
Hmm.
is. He's a true free safety where, yeah, maybe you bring him in the box a few plays a game, but ultimately, what you want him to be is that back end guy who's going to be able to run sideline to sideline, help you out and be an extra guy in the run game from time to time. But in
Hmm.
pass coverage, he is going to be a beast. And I really do. I look at him like an Earl Thomas. I think he's going to be that perfect guy to be back there in the middle of the field, roaming the field, making quarterbacks really nervous.
And finally, kind of anecdotally here about Antoine Winfield, you're uniquely positioned to answer this question. I mean, you play the exact same position in the NFL that your dad played. Uh, Antoine Winfield is in the same position. His dad was a wonderful player at the exact same spot where he's going to play. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you connect those dots?
Well, I think the thing, he loves football. I think that's probably the
Hmm.
first thing when I connect those dots. You could tell with the passion, the way he plays on the field, the attitude, the body language when he's walking around the field or getting up after a tackle, or when the defense did fail, you could see his body language that man, it crushed him. He took it personal. So again, it's not always hand in hand that the great father passed down the traits, the physical traits to the kids, right? I mean, my dad didn't pass down everything to me, or maybe I wouldn't be here talking to you. I'd probably still be playing. But
What didn't he give
either
you that he should
way,
have? What did Big
uh,
Phil leave out for you?
his ability to be like, he's just thicker and stronger human being. He has more caveman in him, so he could take he could take more punishment than I could. That's what he didn't give me all the way. But
That would make your
I
dad
just
feel good.
think,
That make him smile.
yeah, good,
Yeah.
good. Yeah, he's more caveman. But the Antoine Winfield thing again. A lot of the times with these type of guys too is it's the family business, and this is all and you're invested in it, daily, weekly. You're at the dinner table talking about it. I mean, think of the Bosa
Hmm.
family. We're seeing it more
Yeah.
and more throughout the sport, because it's what you grow up in. You start to love it and appreciate all the things that go into making yourself a great player. And then, as you know,
Hmm.
you love the camaraderie and the team
Yeah.
aspect and being disciplined and all those things. And, that's what you get sometimes when you draft the son of an ex-player.
Okay, there's your safeties. At one, you had Winfield, Minnesota, McKinney, Alabama at number two, Blackman, Utah was three, Duggar from LENOIR-RHYNE at four, and ASHTYN Davis at number five. No Isaiah Simmons. Chris will talk about him as an outside linebacker next week when you get into that position. And I think the two of us are doing a mock draft next Wednesday, I believe. We'll go through the whole
Oh,
first round. So
baby.
that'll be a fun one too.